I am Bert Gritz. I tell everybody I've lived in Hennessey my entire life. I was actually born in Enid. So when I met my wife, I told her I lived in Enid for 3 days and then moved to Hennessey. But I've been a lifelong resident here. I own and operate the local funeral home. Have 3 children. My wife, Kim, is a teacher here at Hennessey High School, and got 6 grandbabies here in town.
Hi, my name is Clifford Vogt. Everybody just calls me Cliff. I've been in Hennessey since 1982, so I think I'm a Hennesseyite by now. I used to run the Sonic Drive-In. I no longer do that, and it's great to be a Hennesseyite.
Well, my name's Frank Patton. I've lived here for approximately 13 years. I have family that lives here, teaches school, my sister. Been here for a lot longer than I have, and I work in the oil business. Work for a saltwater hauling company and disposal company. I attend the St. Joseph Catholic Church, and I do just a lot of things uptown, just kind of support people with eating out all the time. So not anything real special about me. So
I'm Randy Bohnstedt, pretty much a lifelong resident of Hennessey. Grew up here, went to school here. I've got a lot of family that lives here. Married to my wife Mindy of 5 years. I have a 3-year-old son, Caden. And I've been on the Hennessey Fire Department for 8 years. Just looking for a new way to serve the town and different aspect. So just trying to get involved.
Well, I graduated from Hennessey in 1964. We were the last class to graduate from the old Hennessey High School. Went to Oklahoma State University, graduated in agriculture. I took a job at the Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C. We were shocked when we went to Washington, D.C. because we thought it was such a beautiful city. And when you're standing in front of the White House or the Supreme Court or Capitol building, it looks very beautiful. But if you just went a couple of blocks away, there were empty buildings and the community was very deteriorated. 2 blocks east of the White House were peep shows and strip shows. And so at that time, there was a great push to revitalize the city, and we've seen that movement clear across the nation. You know, it's, my experience is Washington, D.C., but we see what has happened in Tulsa and in Oklahoma City with Bricktown. We were very much involved with community development. The neighborhood we moved into was described as a slum at that time, but these beautiful Victorian buildings like you find in Guthrie. So we joined our restoration neighborhood group. Oklahoma City has about 12 neighborhood groups. If you look on a computer, you'll find them. And these neighborhood groups work for the betterment of their community. And that's the experience I have and I want to use for Hennessey.
Well, I have been on the board since 2003, and to be honest, I was not going to rerun at this election. I did find out right before the last day of filing that our town administrator, Tiffany Tillman, was in a job interview and was looking, and I just felt like it was really important to keep some seasoned experience on the board. Town government is a totally different animal than normal business, and I felt like the experience factor was very important.
I am running to, I love Hennessey, and Hennessey's been good to me. And after all those years at Sonic, I want to give back to the town of Hennessey. And I want to see Hennessey grow and be a prosperous town.
I'm running for this position again. I know most people know that I went against David the time before, and David's a really good guy, don't get me wrong. So we're kind of buddies. It worked out just fine. But I want to be a part of changing this town as much as I can. I think what you guys here at the paper that you put out is a wonderful thing. It draws people in, it gives you your schedules and what have you, but I'm a little more concerned with how we spend our money. I think that we're getting a little lackadaisical with our spending. We need to tighten it up because just like everybody, there's only so much money to go around, and it's really tough to collect on tax revenues because it's a guess number. So I want to be around to make sure that what dollars we do have that we spend wisely.
I think it's just time to get involved. The timing works. I've looked at it the last several years, the last several elections. I've kind of kicked the idea around about getting involved, and politics is something that's interested me later as I'm getting older. I feel like a lot of people get into politics with an axe to grind. I don't have that. I'm here with an open mind, enjoy the conversation, and looking to just better serve the community in a different aspect.
After my wife passed away, I decided to come back to Hennessey and use my community development experience for the betterment of Hennessey. I wanted to give back to Hennessey, and I went to the town council meetings, and the town council, it is the catalyst for change. You see it in Oklahoma City, you see it in Enid, you see it in Kingfisher, you see it in Ponca City. The town council must be a very proactive group. You cannot sit back. And when I joined the town council as an official town council member, in the second meeting, we got involved with this flood issue, and drainage issue that was in the community, and it's been there for decades. Many people appeared at the meeting complaining about it, that this problem has gone on for years, decades, and nothing was being done. I called Kingfisher, I called their manager, David. I get the Kingfisher paper, and there were many, many articles on all the grants they were getting to take care of their drainage and flood problems. And I asked Dave what to do, and he said, well, contact the Northern Oklahoma Development Authority, start there. And I did, and I talked to them. I've talked to them many times. I've been in their offices many times, and what I discovered was there's grants available to help Hennessey, and the town council was not pursuing and going after those grants. Those grants, where does that money come from? It's appropriated by the state legislature to the Northern Oklahoma Development Authority. NODA, by their initials, is one of 11 districts in the state of Oklahoma. They take the applications and they approve the funds. Those grant monies, where they come from, they are coming from the taxes that the Hennessey citizens pay. And when we as a town council are not going after grants and not getting grants, basically the Hennessey taxpayer is subsidizing other towns because the other towns are going after these grants and getting them.
Well, I'm very interested in everything concerning the town. In my view, our top priority is our water, that we have to provide a clean and safe water supply to our citizens. Of course, immediately following that is sewer. Things have to be well taken care of there as well. I'm also very interested in public safety. Police and fire protection, I feel like, are very, very important. And but really all aspects. I feel like our library and parks are important as well, because they help draw people into our community, especially the water park.
We have been started on our sewer and our water and our drainage, and that was a really good big thing on mine. I really like to see that through, and it's very important to have an infrastructure that we can depend on, because we need water.
Well, one thing that's kind of got blown out of proportion last year a little bit was the library, for instance. I wholeheartedly believe that this town should have and needs a library. The big question is, how do we go about doing that? Is it more economical to start over with a new building, update it with all the bells and whistles that everybody would like to have? Or do you try to renovate what you've got, which is very expensive? Or maybe a mixture of both. I've kind of proposed and would like to talk to the committees about it, to what if you saved the front facade and built the new building behind it? So from the street, it preserves the historical look of the library, but you get all the new things, computer labs, you get internet, you get no mold, you get, all those things go away. I'm just afraid that a remodel would be a little more expensive unless we come into a windfall. And then, if you had the Sears catalog book and could get anything you wanted, of course you'd build a brand new one. But those are my two things I'm concerned with, is spending money and making sure that somehow there is a library in this town.
I'm really interested in just seeing how the town runs in every aspect, from the water department, street departments. Super curious to see how everything works. I've always felt like the town's done a really good job of keeping things up to date, or keeping things running. Sure, they have their hiccups. Every company does, but it all interests me. I've got a lot to learn. I don't know it. I don't feel like I know much of the current. What am I trying to say? I don't know a lot about the different ordinances and things like that. So I've got a lot to learn in that aspect. But I think I'm just someone with my generation getting involved into to bring Hennessey into the future. That's what I'm interested in, and I'm eager to learn, and I enjoy problem solving. So that's something I think I'm good at, and I want to bring that to the town of Hennessey.
I think there's got to be some changes in the town council. One, I've never seen a town council so intent on tearing down its main street as Hennessey. We tore down the north side, the north main east side, tore down the whole block. We almost tore down a couple of other buildings, Dr. Sturgeon's medical building, the old horse stable, and there's been no effort put into preserving the high school building housing our museum and library, and the town has had it since 1983. The second thing the town council, I want to repeat this, and something I'm going to pound on today, is not going after grants. And the third thing, as a preservationist working in Washington, D.C. and watching other areas, there's always a hostility to change. But the hostility to change that I've encountered in Hennessey is about as strong as any of I've encountered. What I would like to do, instead of getting into, every time we discuss an issue and seemingly get into an argument or a fight, is to institutionalize change. And these can be simple changes. For example, on the agenda we could make it a required item on the agenda that we have a list of how many grants the town council has pursued and how many they have received. Another institutional change would be how we pay the town administrator. Instead of giving them a flat salary, I think a base salary with bonus structure built into it. A reward for doing the things that the council wants done. And we have to remember, we're running this town basically off of sales tax. Our sales tax collection per citizen is 50% of Kingfisher. 50%. If we're ever going to maintain our amenities, and if we're ever going to expand our amenities, we're going to have to do it through grants, and we're going to have to do it through foundation programs. Although our tax collection is 50% per citizen of what Kingfisher is, we still have to provide water, we still have to provide sewer, we still have to provide police, and all the other things that go into running the town. I want to go through some items to show the town. Hennessey is leaving not thousands and thousands of dollars on the table, but Hennessey is leaving hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. We have a new water meter system. It's automated, where people don't have to pull the cover off and read the dial. It's automated. That costs about $500,000. The town paid for all of that out of its own pocket. It didn't have to. You can get grants for these automatic reading meters. Canton, a little town, I think it's about 600 people compared to Hennessey. They're not as wealthy as Hennessey. They applied for a $272,000 grant to improve their streets. Hennessey has never applied for such a grant. The water drainage thing I brought up, I kept bringing that up, that these grants are available, and this town council did go ahead and finally apply. Got the first community development grant was $150,000. The second one was $300,000. That's $450,000. And in the meantime, there were 3 rural economic grants. That was about $150,000. So we're talking $600,000 in grants in 3 years. Now, take that $600,000 for 3 years and multiply it over for a decade, and you can see how much money that is possibly out there. We're not going to get every grant, but that provides an idea of what is available and what Hennessey has left on the table. And by paying taxes, and the other towns are taking Hennessey's tax dollars. The other example I want to give is the storm sirens. They've deteriorated to a point they needed to be replaced. I voted for it to replace them because we have to have our storm sirens. They cost $175,000. What the town council is doing is not doing any long-term planning. How old is the age of equipment? And we know when the age of the equipment is getting to the near end of its life, go in and submit your grants. Hennessey is paying $175,000 out of their own pocket for those storm sirens, but you probably could have gotten a grant from FEMA if you applied for it. Now, so we got $500,000 for the meters, $272,000 for the street improvements, the storm sirens, and it goes on and on. What Hennessey needs to do is to do long-term planning, look at the age of their equipment, how old is this police car, how old is this fire truck, and get prioritize things, and then submit your grants. It's long-range planning. What we're moving is from one crisis to another. There's no time for a grant, so we use the town money. The other example is the library and museum housed in the old Hennessey High School. The town council has had those buildings since 1983 and has never applied for a grant, with one exception. They got a handicap access entrance. That was a $50,000 grant. But there's been no grants, no plans put in place. What do we do with those buildings?
Well, I think that's going to be one of the most important things that the town board does in quite some time. My thoughts are, I want to employ the Oklahoma Municipal Manager Services to help us find somebody. I want somebody who can not only do the accounting and the day-to-day operations, but can also seek grants, that's knowledgeable where to go and find those kinds of things. And then another complicated process is implementing the grants once you get them, and overseeing them and taking care of all of the necessary requirements that come along with that. The state laws governing municipal government are different even for a city like Kingfisher and Hennessey, because we're two different types of government. So in answer to your question, I really feel like a professional town administrator is very important. And I've been approached by people who have told me they hope it's somebody from our community. If somebody in our community's got the qualifications, that would be great, but I would sure like to see someone with some good experience.
Tiffany did us a wonderful job, and I really liked working with Tiffany these last 8 years that I've been able to work with her. And so this is a new chapter. We are we'll have some new ideas or different things, but we'll find somebody that's interested in seeing Hennessey grow and be better. And we're not going to just hire the first person that comes along. We are really going to look into their background and see how they can help us grow as a town.
Of course we need one. I mean, that's a given. And I think that that's a very important tool for the trustees, the town, is to have someone that can do what the title suggests, you administrate. I think that in the past, the town administrator has had a little bit more freedom than they should have had, and I think that needs to be reversed. I think that the trustees should be approached first, and then with the help of the administrator, get those jobs accomplished. One thing that I'm really concerned with is, like I said, the financial situation of the town. I think it's time, after so many years, that we agree to some sort of annual, really truly spot check audit to make sure that we know what our debts are, so that we know that maybe the $1 million in the bank account is not the bottom line, that we already have obligated ourselves to some long-term debt or something that needs paid. So I think there should be someone that's got a business administration degree or maybe prior experience. Either one works. I don't think it needs to be a master's or a PhD or anything like that, but I think it needs to be someone that's has some finance experience for the most part. Now, there's other duties that the administrator does too, but the big issue is tracing the money, making sure that it's spent wisely.
I think those are very big shoes to fill. I feel like Tiffany done a really good job. And I think it's going to be a challenge, but I feel like what the town board's got working right now with OMMS, something. I feel like they're gonna go out and find the right person, and I hope that they do their due diligence to make sure that we find a fit that fits Hennessey, because we are a unique community, and I think it takes a special person to run that aspect. And I think that'll be one that's difficult to fill, but I hope we can find the right person.
I think everybody has to be on the same page. The government of the Hennessey does not begin with the town administrator. The two biggest accomplishments in the town council was when the citizens appeared. We solved this drainage problem when angry citizens came to the town council meeting that evening and voiced their frustrations that this problem had been going on for years and years and nothing was being done. The other example, the great accomplishment, the second great accomplishment, is when we had that library meeting to preserve the high school and to proceed with trying to do something to save it. We had so many people, we ran out of chairs. There were over 50 people there that evening. So on the town administrator, I kind of view them as the end of the political process. We're having an election. This is where the process is beginning. This is where you, the voter, can decide what kind of town government you want. Elect your town officials, tell the town officials what they want, or vote for the town official candidate that's addressing the issues you want addressed, and let's change our government. Let's make it a very active, proactive government like they have in Oklahoma City with Bricktown or Ponca City or Enid or Kingfisher. So I think the town administrator is important, but the political process begins with you, the voter.
Well, I really feel like Hennessey is thriving and doing well right now. And Hennessey is a community that over history has had its ups and downs with the oil prices, and things kind of go down and then we get a boom and then they kind of go down again. I feel like Hennessey has done a really good job in maintaining what we've got. If you visit some of the other communities around that are our size, I feel like that we're doing really well. And I just think that we need to keep that progressing. We need to keep moving things in a positive manner. We need to attract people from out of town to make Hennessey a destination spot, to come here, visit our water park, visit our other parks, visit our retail businesses and our restaurants. I've always felt like Hennessy's not likely to be on the map for a huge industry to move here. So I think we've got to sell what we've got, and we've got some really good things here to sell. We just need to get that out.
My final thoughts is we have a great town, and we have to be involved, and we have to vote. So, vote for vote, haha. And, if you don't get involved, then you really don't have anything to say about something else, because you have to be there and you have to be willing to do it. And then if you make a mistake, you just have to stand up, says, I made a mistake, and then we'll try to make it better. So that's what I would like to say.
Final thoughts is, this is a very, very unique situation that we have for this election. You have 3 trustees that have been there for a long time that you can vote back in, and nothing changes. And you've got the chance that you could go in and make changes and vote for someone new. I know there's 2 of us that are new that could contribute to some new ideas, and it's up to the town, to make your choice. But please come out and make a choice. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I would rather see 400 people come vote and me lose than to see 50 people come out and get the wrong people elected.
Like I'd said earlier, I am. There's not a lot of people my age that are trying to get involved. I feel like it's super necessary. I encourage more to get involved, get out and vote. I feel like this makes a big difference in people's day-to-day lives. I'm excited to at the opportunity to serve the town, and so I don't have a particular area that I'm upset with, and I feel like that's a lot of the reason people get jump in to run. They have an axe to grind, and I'm just open-minded and really looking forward to serving the community in a different aspect than I am currently.
I think I've kind of expressed my final thoughts. You have a chance now, you the Hennessey voter, to decide what kind of government you want. And if I'm elected, I promise to continue to push those things in community development that will make Hennessey a better place to live, maintain our amenities, add new amenities, attract business, and where our next generation will have jobs and good jobs. I promise to work with grants. I think I'm the only candidate that has painted a vision of Main Street. And I have done things to make Main Street better. We need to have change. People that have served on a long time on the town council, they've had their opportunity. They have not gone to workshops, community workshops. They've not gone to the things sponsored by the Oklahoma Municipal League. They have not gone to the Northern Oklahoma Development Authority for their conferences and meetings. You must know what's out there. You got to attend those meetings to know what's out there to be able to pursue them. And again, we're talking about money. And if you want to think of Richard Simunek in a very simple way, think of it this way: I'm after more money for the town of Hennessey.